Thank you po, Madam Chair. Um, I'm sorry po, Madam Chair. May inaayos lang po regarding sa volume. Sa audio po pala.
Whenever you are ready, you may proceed with the acknowledgement of the participants. Thank you.
Yes po, Madam Chair. Thank you po. Um, Good afternoon po to all. Welcome po to our pre-bid conference po this afternoon for the mass production, supply, distribution, configuration, testing, commissioning, training, and maintenance of TVL tools and equipment packages to public senior high schools, cabinets, various tools and equipment 2022 and 2023 rebid for lots 1, 4, and 5. But before that po, may I request Miss Windy Arbatan to lead a prayer po.
Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we are gathered together. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We ask that we would challenge each other to reach higher and farther, to be the best we can be. We ask this in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Miss Windy. To proceed po, I would like to acknowledge the presence of our end user from BLR Cebu who presently online, Mr. Jaymar Arioha. Good afternoon, sir. For our technical working group, members, Mr. Aljan Robertuso, Bradford Lisondra, Leo Navarro, and Mr. Virgilio Agot. Good afternoon po, sirs. And our back members who presently online po, our provisional member, Ms. Sonia De Leon, and our alternate to provisional member, Mr. Marlon Ampok. Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon,
sir.
Madam Chair, and the rest.
And our regular member who presently online po, Ms. Director Ella Cecilia Gina Lipunggit. Good afternoon po, Director.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Bakay.
And our Vice Chairperson po, who physical present po, ang Director Suzette Ganaban Medina. Good afternoon po, Director.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I'm here at the Bulwagan. Good afternoon, everyone.
At our chairperson po who presently online, ASEC Marilet R. Almeida. Good afternoon po, ASEC.
Good afternoon to all. I'm currently at Ace Hotel for another activity. Thank you.
Thank you po. And also, I would like to acknowledge the back secretariat po, Ms. Windy Arbatin, Ms. Roniela, Ms. Geraldine Cambali, sir, Ms. Yali Angelis Joso, Mr. John Mark Basilia, and Mr. Arben Bala. And yours truly po, Janeline D. Asis po, your PIC for this project. And also, Madam Chair, I would like to acknowledge your presence of our bidders po. May I request our bidders to state their name and their companies po.
Good afternoon, Lawrence Tagle from Juneco Tech Marketing Corp. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Albert Urbano of Silicon Valley.
Good afternoon po, Erwin Cornejo, Advanced Solutions.
Good afternoon to all. Ray Fulgar from Red Dot Imaging Philippines.
Good afternoon po. I'm Alma, Austria from One Depot. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mark Ashley Cordova from Intel Corporation.
Good afternoon. I'm Sharon Maraguinot from Lenovo.
Madam Chair, that's all po for the attendance po for this preview po. May I proceed po, Madam Chair?
Miss Jen, can we also acknowledge if we have observers?
Yes po, Madam Chair, but unfortunately po, wala po tayong observers ngayon. Meron ba?
Okay.
Meron po.
Okay. Anyway, this is recorded, so you may please proceed, Jen.
Thank you po, Madam Chair. To proceed po, for the Bids and Awards Committee 5 composition po, we have the chairperson po, Asag Marilet R. Almeida. For the vice chairperson po, Director Society Ganaban Medina. For the regular members po, Director Ella Cecilia Gina Lipunggit and Yusek Gerard L. Chan. For alternate to regular members, Director Leia B. Apaw. For provisional members, Ms. Sonia R. De Leon and Mr. Andrew A. Villarba. And for the alternate to provisional members, Mr. Albert Jerome C. Andres and Mr. Marlon G. Ompo. For the observers po, we invited them po through letters dated November 28, 2023 under the Civil Society organizations po, which were Commission on Audit or COA, NAMFREL, ASAEA Foundation Incorporated, Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and GWatch po. For the project information po, for the end user po is the Bureau of Learning Resources, Cebu, and the source of funds is FY 2022 LTE TVL continuing funds and FY 2023 LTE TVL current funds. For the date of advertisement and posting of invitation to bid, information sheet or Annex A. And upon receipt of the bidder's information sheet, the back secretariat division will send through email and upon payment and upon again po, for the interested bidders may signify their intent to purchase the bidding documents through email at depedcentral.backsecretariat@deped.gov.ph by accomplishing a bidder's information sheet or Annex A. Upon receipt of the bidder's information sheet, the back secretariat division will send through email the details of the DEX OSEC Trust Fund account for payment. And upon payment, bidders may send through email the proof of payment before the deadline for submission of bids. Upon receipt of proof of payment, the back secretariat will send the electronic copy of the bidding documents. For eligible bidders who may participate po, for Filipino entities, single or sole proprietorships, partnerships, corporations, cooperatives, joint ventures, and government corporate entities. And for foreign entities, direct participation and joint venture with a 40% po. Note, only bids of bidders found to be legally, technically, and financially capable will be evaluated. For the salient points of the bidding documents, for the SLCC po, prospective bidders should have completed within a period of 10 years immediately preceding the deadline for submission of bids. Single largest completed contract or SLCC similar to the contract to be bid and the value of which adjusted if necessary by the bidder to current prices using the Philippine Statistics Authority Consumer Price Index must be at least 50% of the ABC of the lot bid for, or at least two similar contracts and the total of the aggregated contract amount should be equivalent to at least 50% of the ABC of the lots bid for, and the largest of these similar contracts must be equivalent to at least 25% of the ABC of the lots to be bid for. For this purpose, contracts similar to the projects shall be for lots 1 and 5, similar supply, delivery, and installation, training, and commissioning of information and communication technologies, ICT, such as desktop and laptop computer, tablets, platters, and printers, and smart TV. And for lot 4, supply and delivery refrigerators and freezers. And second po is completed within a period of 10 years immediately prior to the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. For the subcontracting, ITV Clause 7.1, subcontracting is not allowed. Clarification and amendment of bidding documents, ITV Clause 9, prospective bidders may request for clarification on and or interpretation of any part of the bidding documents. Such requests must be in writing and submitted at least 10 calendar days before the deadline set for the submission and receipt of bids. For the continuation po, the procuring entity's address is ASEC Almeida, Marilet R. Almeida, Bids and Awards Committee 5, care of Procurement Management Service, Back Secretariat Division, Room M511, 5th floor, Mabini Building, DepEd Central Office Complex, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City. Consistent with Section 22.5.3 of the revised IRR of RA 9184, posting on the PhilJEPS and the procuring entity's website of any supplemental or bid bulletin shall be considered sufficient notice to all bidders or parties concerned. For the bid security, ITV Clause 14.1, for lot number 1, the information technology devices and accessories, the AUVC is 198,428,428,079.10, and the 2% of AVC is 3,968,561.58, and for the 5% of ABC is 9,921,403.95. For lot 4, which is refrigerator and freezers, the ABC is 13,307,982.20. The 2% of the ABC is 266,159.64, and the 5% is 665,399.11. For lot 5, information technology devices and accessories, ABC is 44,923,606.57, and the 2% is 898,472.13, and the 5% is 2,246,180.32. For the sealing and marking of bids, ITP Clause 15, prospective bidders shall enclose their original eligibility and technical documents in one sealed envelope, marked as Original Technical Proposal. Copies thereof shall be similarly sealed in the envelope marked as Copy Number 1 Technical Proposal and Copy Number 2 Technical Proposals. In addition, the USB flash drive containing the soft copy of the original eligibility and technical documents shall be marked as USB flash drive. The said envelopes containing the original and the copies and the flash drive shall then be enclosed in one single envelope submitted and marked as technical proposal. On the other hand, the original of their financial documents shall be enclosed in another sealed envelope marked as original financial proposal. Copies thereof shall be similarly sealed in envelopes submitted and marked as Copy Number 1 Financial Proposal and Copy Number 2 Financial Proposal. The USB flash drive containing the soft copy of the original financial documents shall be marked as a USB flash drive. The said envelopes containing the original and copies and the flash drive shall then be enclosed in one single envelope marked as financial proposal. Further, the envelopes must are marked as technical proposal and financial proposal shall be enclosed and or sealed in an outer envelope marked as mother envelope. Any discrepancy between the hard and paper copy or paper copies and the copies contained and as presented in the USB flash drive shall be a ground for disqualification. Sorry. Bakit? The continuation po. Original copies of the Class A eligibility legal documents such as the SEC, DTI, or the CDA registration certificate and the mayor's permit may not be submitted on the date and time of the bid submission. However, the bidder must be able to present such original copies during post-qualification on demand by the bank or its authorized representatives for validation. To facilitate the receipt and classification of bid envelopes, mother envelope shall be red and the inner envelope containing technical proposal shall be blue. The inner envelope containing financial proposal shall be green and the post-qualification documents shall be brown. Post-qualification documents may be submitted during the bidding, but this does not disqualify bidders who will not submit post-qualification documents during bid submission. Note, each bidder shall submit 3 paper copies, that is 1 original and 2 copies of its bid and 2 USB flash drive electronic copies, and 1 technical component and 1 financial component. The e-copy of the price schedule must be in the form of Excel and PDF. Unsealed or unmarked bid envelopes shall be rejected. However, bid envelopes that are not properly sealed and marked as required in the bidding documents shall be accepted provided that the bidder or its duly authorized representative shall acknowledge such condition of the bid as submitted. The bank shall assume no responsibility for the misplacement of the contents of the improperly sealed or the marked bid or for its premature opening. Online submission of bids is not allowed. This is the illustration for the sealing and marking of bids. For the net financial contracting capacity or NFCC, ITV Clause 19.5, the computation of a prospective bidder's NFCC must be at least equal to the ABC to be bid, calculated as follows. NFCC equal to current assets minus current liabilities times 15 or value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of the projects under ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts yet to be started. The values of the domestic bidder's current assets and current liabilities shall be based on the latest audited financial statements submitted to the BIR. For purpose of computing the foreign bidders NFCC, the value of the current assets and current liabilities shall be based on their audited financial statements prepared in accordance with international financial reporting standards. If the prospective bidders submits a committed line of credit, it must be at least equal to 10% of the ABC of the lots bid for, provided that if the same is issued by a foreign universal or commercial bank, it shall be confirmed or authenticated by a local universal or commercial bank. In any case, the NFCC computation or committed line of credit, as well as the SLCC, must be sufficient for all the lots or contracts bid for. The NFCC computation shall be in accordance with the prescribed form. In case of a foreign joint venture, the NFCC shall be computed based on the audited financial statements of the local lead partner, unless it is shown by clear proof that the other partners to the joint venture have infused capital investment to support the operation of the local lead partner to ensure compliance with the obligations under the contracts in this project, in which case the NFCC of the foreign joint venture or the minority partner of the joint venture shall be computed. For this purpose, the local lead partner shall be that person or organization or company identified in the joint venture agreement or in the letters of intent for potential JV partners shown to have the controlling stakes in the JV. For easier reference, participating JVs or prospective JV partners must indicate in their JVs or letters of intent the local lead partner appointed by them. For the post-qualification ITV Clause 20.1, within a non-extendable period of 5 calendar days from receipt by the bidder of the notice from the bank that is submitted the LCB or lowest calculated bid, the bidder shall submit the following documentary requirements. First is latest income and business tax returns, printed copies of the electronically filed income tax and business tax returns with copies of their respective payment confirmation forms for the immediately preceding calendar or tax year from the authorized agent bank. Only tax returns filed and taxes paid through the BIR electronic filing and payment systems shall be accepted. Note, the latest income and business tax returns are those within the last 6 months preceding the date of bid submission. Second is an undertaking that the spare parts are available nationwide for the minimum period of 5 years and the original brands of the spare parts are made available to DepEd. C is a list of service centers nationwide by province or city to address the maintenance need of the equipment. During the post-qualification, upon demand by the bank or its representatives, a bidder with the lowest calculated bid shall be able to present or submit the following documents. Documents to verify or support its statement of ongoing and or statement of identifying its single largest completed contract, which may consist of the following: appropriate and clear duly signed contracts, purchase orders, agreements, notices of awards, job orders or notices to proceed with a corresponding duly signed certificate of completion, delivery receipts, inspection and acceptance reports, certificates of final acceptance or official receipts. For validation purposes, original copy class A eligibility documents, certified true copy documents as issued by the certifying authorized agencies. During post-qualification, compliance of the goods offered with the requirements specified in the bidding documents shall be determined, including the following: First is as per section 34.3, item A of the IRR of RA 9184, verification of availability and commitment and or inspection and testing for the required capacities and opening conditions of equipment units to be owned, leased, under purchase by the bidder for use in the contract under bidding, as well as checking the performance of the bidder in its ongoing government and private contracts if any of these ongoing contracts shows negative slippage of at least 15% in any one project or a negative slippage of at least 10% in each of two or more contracts. Second is as per section 34.3, items A to C of the IRR of RA 9184, verification and or inspection and testing of the goods, product, after sales and or maintenance capabilities in inapplicable cases, as well as checking the following. Delay in the partial delivery of goods amounting to 10% of the contract price in its ongoing government and private contracts. These, if any of these contracts show the bidder's failure to deliver or perform any or all of the goods or services within the periods specified in the contract or within any extension thereof granted by the procuring entity pursuant to a request made by the supplier prior to the delay, and such failure amounts to at least 10% of the contract price, or C, unsatisfactory performance of the supplier's obligations as per contract terms and conditions at the time of inspection. If the BAC verifies any of these deficiencies to be due to the bidder's fault or negligence, the BAC shall disqualify the bidder from the award for the procurement of goods. In case of foreign bidders, a certificate of authentication from the Department of Foreign Affairs shall be required for each document submitted. That is, the Class A documents or is equivalent that are written in the foreign language, translated to English, and duly authenticated by the appropriate Philippine Foreign Service establishment or post or the equivalent office having jurisdiction over the foreign bidder's affair in the Philippines. To facilitate a post-qualification, the bidder at its auction may submit in advance. That is, on the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids, above requirements and other documents required in Section 2 ITV 20.1. The envelope shall be placed in brown envelope and marked as ITV 20.1 documents, name of projects, bid opening date, and name of bidder. Failure to submit above requirements within the required time frame or at finding against the veracity of any such documents or other documents submitted for the project shall be a ground for disqualification of the bidder for the award and the enforcement of the bid securing declaration. For the submission of samples, in addition to the documentary requirements to be submitted during post-qualification as provided under ITV Clause 20.1, the bidders with the lowest calculated bids for the lots 1, 4, and 5 shall submit one sample item unit for all the items within the lots being bid, consistent with their actual offer as indicated in their bid. However, the bidder may provide a sample of better or superior quality, which, if accepted, shall be the reference for award, contract, prospection, and eventual delivery. These samples shall be subjected to evaluation during post-qualification. The technical working group shall evaluate the said samples to determine compliance with the required technical specifications, subject to the approval of the Bids and Awards Committee. Failure of the samples to meet depth and technical specifications shall be a ground for disqualification of the bidders. For the delivery and documents, GCC Clause 1, the delivery terms applicable under the contract shall be DDP or duties delivered paid in accordance with Incoterms. Risk and title to the goods shall pass from the supplier to debtor upon receipt and final acceptance of the goods at the designated delivery sites or schools. The goods to be delivered by the supplier must be in accordance with the technical specifications and other requirements indicated in the bidding documents, and or as may be reasonably deemed necessary to effect the full and timely delivery of the goods. Upon delivery of the goods to the delivery site, door to door, the supplier shall notify DepEd and present the following documents. 1 is original and 4 copies of the supplier's invoice showing goods description, quantity, unit price, and total amount. Second is original and 4 copies of the manufacturer's and or supplier's warranty certificate where applicable. And third, original and scanned copy stored in CD, DVD, flash drive of the pre-numbered inspection and acceptance report and delivery receipt detailing the number and description of goods received and duly signed and dated by the ARP. For purposes of this clause, the representative of the Department of Education at the delivery site shall be the authorized representative or school head and the designated inspectorate team. In case the supplier encounters conditions impeding timely delivery of the goods, it must promptly notify DepEd in writing within 5 calendar days from the notice of such conditions, and any request for work suspension and or contract period extension shall be promptly done in writing as soon as circumstances for such requests have become apparent. The supplier must provide sufficient proof to support any request for work suspension and or contract period extension. For the incidental services, the supplier is required to provide all the following services, including the additional services, if any, as follows. First is performance or supervision of on-site assembly and or start-up of the supplied goods and demonstrate how to use the delivered goods. The supplier must submit a certificate signed by the authorized representative of the recipient school indicating that the supplier conducted the demonstration. Furnishing of a detailed operations and maintenance manual for each appropriate unit of the supplied goods applicable for lots 1, 4, and 5 or market items only. And C is performance, supervision, maintenance, and or repair of the supplied goods for a period of time agreed by the parties, provided that this service shall not relieve the supplier of any warranty obligations. And last is provision of training videos for various items for lots 1 and 4 and 5 with training components. The training video must be stored in a USB flash drive. However, assembly, installation, startup, and or commissioning of the items in cases where they are necessary shall remain to be the responsibility and for the account of the supplier notwithstanding inspection and acceptance of its premises. In case of failure of supplier to do this, DepEd shall may call upon the supplier's warranty so that the assembly, installation, startup, and or commissioning shall be undertaken by DepEd. In any case, the supplier shall provide written manuals and tutorial videos for installation, commissioning, startup, assembly, use, and maintenance of the items delivered. For the spare parts, the supplier is required to provide all the following materials, notifications, and information pertaining to spare parts manufactured or distributed by the supplier. Such spare parts as DepEd may elect to purchase from the supplier, provided that this election shall not relieve the supplier of any warranty obligations under this contract. B. In the event of termination and production of the spare parts, advance notification to DepEd of the pending termination in sufficient time to permit the procuring entity to procure needed requirements. And second, following such termination, furnishing at no cost to the DepEd the blueprints, drawings, and specifications of the spare parts if requested. The supplier shall carry sufficient inventories to assure stock supply of consumable spares for the goods that will be sustained for a minimum of 5 years from the date the goods were procured. Other spare parts and components must be available nationwide and shall be supplied as promptly as possible, but in any case within 1 month of placing the order. For packaging, the supplier shall provide such packaging as is required to prevent their damage or deterioration during transit to their final destination as indicated in this contract. The packaging shall be sufficient to withstand, without limitation, rough handling during transit and exposure to extreme temperatures, salt, and precipitation during transit, and open storage. Packaging case size and weight shall take into consideration, where appropriate, the remoteness of the goods' final destination and the absence of heavy handling facilities at all points in transit. The packaging, marking, and the documentation within the outside the packages shall comply strictly with such special requirements as shall be expressly provided, including additional requirements, if any, specified below and in any subsequent instructions ordered by DepEd. Additional instructions to supplier. The following must appear on the exterior of the packages or boxes. Versus DepEd logo. For the project name is mass production, supply, distribution, configuration, testing, commissioning, training, and maintenance of TVL tools and equipment packages to the public senior high schools, cabinets, various tools and equipment, 2022 rebid and 2023. Items inside is that's name, general description or quantity, and lastly supplier's name and contract details. Packaging should be according to the allocation list per school. Refer to DO21 Series 2021 for reference. For insurance, the goods under this contract shall be fully insured by the supplier in a freely convertible currency against loss or damage incidental to the manufacture or acquisition, transportation, storage, and delivery. The goods remain at the risk and the title of the supplier until their final acceptance by DepEd. For transportation, transport of the goods shall be arranged with the supplier and related costs shall be included in the contract price. DepEd accepts no liability for the damage of goods during transit. Risk and title will not be deemed to have passed to DepEd until its receipt and final acceptance of the final destination through its authorized receiving personnel. For the intellectual property rights, the supplier shall indemnify DepEd against all third-party claims of infringement of patent, trademark, or industrial design rights arising from the use of the goods or any part thereof. For the schedule of payment, GCC Clause 2.2, the method and conditions of payment to be made to the supplier through the government disbursement procedure within 60 days upon submission of the billing request with complete supporting documents under this contract shall be as follows. For advance payment, an advance payment not to exceed 15% of the contract amount shall be allowed and paid within 60 calendar days from the signing of the contract. An irrevocable letter of credit or bank guarantee of an equivalent amount must be submitted and shall remain valid until the goods are delivered and accompanied by a claim for advance payment. For progress payment, the supplier shall be paid upon delivery to at least 25% of the recipient schools with complete goods and acceptance of the same by an authorized representative of DepEd. The supplier may submit a request for payment based on progress reports which shall be attached to the progress billing and include the following. First is quantity of goods delivered based on the schedule of delivery and other relevant terms and conditions of the contract, duly signed delivery receipts, duly signed inspection and acceptance reports including the certification by supplier as approved by the duly authorized DepEd representative that the goods have been delivered and are properly installed and commissioned in accordance with the contract. Other documents in support of the request for payment may be required by DepEd pursuant to existing disbursement, accounting, and auditing rules and procedures. Note, the supplier must furnish a copy of the above mentioned documents to DepEd accounting and end user or Bureau of Learning Resources Cebu or BLR Cebu and the Contract Management Division of the Procurement Service Central Office. Payments shall be subject to the warranty provision in the form of either retention money in an amount equivalent to 3% of every progress payment or the contract price or a special bank guarantee in the amount equivalent to 3% of the contract price as provided under Section 62.1 of RA 9184 and its revised IRR. Final payment. For final payment shall consist of the full and final payment of the unpaid, inspected, and accepted goods subject to the submission of the required documents under the bidding documents. Release of retention money shall be at the expiration of the warranty period or the remaining amount in case it has been utilized pursuant to the warranty provision. For the performance security or GCC Clause 3, the performance security shall be posted in favor of DepEd and shall be forfeited in the event it is established under the supplier is in default or any of its obligation under the contract. The supplier shall be responsible for the extension of its performance security and the renewal of its performance security whenever necessary and without need of prior notice or instruction from DepEd to ensure that it is in force and effect for the whole duration of the contract delivery period and until a certificate of final acceptance is duly issued. Performance security shall not contain any deletion, crossing out, expansion, or any form of correction. Otherwise, DepEd may reject such security if any such intercalation or alteration affects of any materials, information, or feature of the document. For the inspection, GCC Clause 4, inspection or pre-delivery inspection or PDI where applicable for goods to be delivered shall be conducted by DepEd through the duly designated inspectorate team. The inspection or PDI shall be made upon notice to the DepEd of the readiness of the goods for inspection. In case the inspection of goods will be conducted by the designated inspectorate team of the DepEd Central Office, the supplier shall coordinate with DepEd through the Procurement Management Service, Contract Management Division on the conduct of the inspection or pre-delivery inspection. Any request for inspection or PDI shall be done in writing and contain the following information. First is project title and contract number. Second is specific goods for inspection. Third is quantity of goods for inspection. Fourth is venue or address of inspection site. And last is proposed schedule of inspection, which must be at least 10 calendar days from the submission of the letter request. The request for inspection or PDI shall be addressed to ProcMS CMD and must be submitted through email at procms.cmd@deped.gov.ph. Pre-delivery and pre-implementation conference shall be conducted prior to the inspection of goods by the designated DepEd inspectorate team as may be necessary or applicable. Prior to and for purposes of inspection, the supplier shall ensure the convenient access to the goods for inspection. The supplier shall assign personnel to undertake the handling, unpacking, assembly, commissioning, disassembly, repacking, resealing, and sorting of the goods prior to, during, and after the inspection. DepEd shall have the right to visit and inspect the supplier's premises covered by the contract at any time or stage of contract implementation to monitor and assess the supplier's capacity to discharge its contractual obligations. Goods with defects or non-compliant with the required technical specifications upon delivery shall be rejected, orally or in writing by DepEd and replaced by the supplier in accordance with the warranty provision of this bidding document. The supplier shall replace all rejected goods within 5 calendar days from its receipt of the notice of rejection from the recipient schools. The replacement goods shall be subject to re-inspection. Goods are considered defective when they are unfit for the use for which it is intended or its fitness for such use is diminished to such an extent that, had DepEd been aware thereof, it would not have acquired or it would have given a lower price for it. Defects in the goods can either be patent or latent. A patent defect is one that is apparent to the buyer on normal observation. It is an apparent or obvious defect. On the other hand, a latent defect is one that is not apparent to the buyer by reasonable observation. A latent defect is hidden or one that is not immediately determinable. A 1 year for the warranty DCC Clause 5. 1 year comprehensive warranty for the non-expendable goods and 3 months for the expendable goods will be applied. The said warranty period shall reckon from the date of issuance of the certificate of final acceptance by the DepEd that the delivery goods have been duly inspected and accepted, that is final acceptance. A longer warranty period shall be applied to the following items. For laptop computer, at least 1 year on parts and 2 years service. Platter, also at least 1 year on parts and 2 years service. Printer, at least 1 year on parts and 2 years service. Refrigerator, at least 1 year on parts and 2 years service. And upright freezer, at least 1 year on parts and 2 years service. For the payment Payments shall be subject to the warranty provision in the form of either retention money in an amount equivalent to 3% of every progress payment or the contract price, or a special bank guarantee in the amount equivalent to 3% of the contract price as provided under Section 62.1 of RA 9184 and its revised IRR. Replacement and/or repair of the goods may be requested within 360 calendar days for non-expendable goods and 90 calendar days for expendable goods. From the date of acceptance of the goods by debit, replacement and/or repair of the goods shall be made within 30 calendar days upon claim or request thereof. Therefore, in case the supplier options for retention money, the amount shall only be released after the lapse of the entire warranty period unless during the remainder of the warranty period, the retention money is substituted with a special bank guarantee as prescribed above. The special bank guarantee shall not contain any deletion, crossing out, expansion, or any form of correction. Otherwise, DepEd may reject such security if any such intercalation, superimposition, or alteration affects any material information or feature of the document. For the delivery schedule, Express Bill stipulates the date of delivery of the project site. For Lot 1, 120 calendar days from the date of receipt of the NTP. Lot 4, 120 calendar days from the date of the receipt of the NTP. And Lot 5 is 120 calendar days from the date of the receipt of the NTP. For the technical specifications, bidders must state either comply or not comply against each of the individual parameters of each specification, stating the corresponding performance parameter of the equipment offered. Statements of comply or not complying must be supported by the evidence in a bidder's bid and cross-reference to that evidence. Evidence shall be in the form of the manufacturer's unamended sales literature and conditional statements of the specification and compliance issued by the manufacturer, samples, independent test data, etc. as appropriate. A statement that is not supported by evidence or is subsequently found to be contradicted by the evidence presented will render the bid under evaluation liable for rejection. A statement, either the bidder's statement of compliance or the supporting evidence that is found to be false either during bid evaluation, post-qualification, or the execution of the contract may be regarded as fraudulent and render the bidder or supplier liable for prosecution subject to applicable laws and issuances. For the no contact rule, Section 32.1 of the IRR of RA 9184, members of the BAC, its staff, and personnel secretariat and TWG, as well as observers, are prohibited from making or accepting any communication with any bidder regarding the evaluation of their bids until the issuance of the notice of award. However, the BAC, through its secretariat, may ask in writing the bidder for a clarification of its bid. All responses to requests for clarification shall be in writing. For the deadline for submission and opening of bids will be on December 14, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. is the deadline for submission and 10 a.m. is the opening of bids. Here at the Bulwagan ng Karunukan, ground floor Rizal Building. And the deadline for letters of clarification is December 6, 2023 at 3 p.m. And the floor now open for queries po, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you so much for that. We now open the floor for queries. Anyone?
I'm sorry po, Madam Chair. Before we proceed po, I would like to acknowledge the presence of our alternator to provisional member, Mr. Albert Jerome C. Andres po.
Yes, sir. Yes. Hello, Sir Albert. Good afternoon. Anyone would like to ask for clarifications, especially from our prospective bidders?
Good afternoon po.
Yes, good afternoon. Kindly state your name and the company you are representing for record purposes. Thank you.
I'm Albert Urbano of Silicon Valley, sir. Ang tanong ko lang po dun sa TV, ano po yung ano yung 55 inches, a viewable area o are as marketed by the manufacturer? sa 55 inches?
Okay, thank you for that question. May we throw that to our end user from BLR? Anyone from our end user, BLR Cebu, for the clarification?
Sir Jaymar?
Yes po, good afternoon po sa lahat. Ma'am, can we repeat the question po? Medyo naputol lang po, ma'am.
Sige sir, can you please repeat? Thank you.
Apo, ang tanong ko po, dun sa TV, Smart TV, nakalagay kasi doon 55 inches. My question is, ano po yung 55 inches viewable area or 55 inches as marketed by manufacturer?
Based po dun sa technical specifications that we got from my CTS po, Smart TV, yun po yung active display po, sir. Yung 55 inches po.
Thank you po.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? For those who would like to clarify, kindly just approach the microphone and introduce yourself and the company you are representing.
Good afternoon po. I'm Alma from One Depot. This is particular dun sa lot 1 and 5 for the laptops. So very huge kasi yung figure, yung ABC. And 50% of the SLCC, of course, medyo huge din on our end as a reseller. For example, for the joint venture, do we need to comply both yung documents or isa lang yung magko-comply for the eligibility documents po? And yung follow-up question is very specific. I mean, there's no technical specification stated on the laptops. Whether ano bang is it what specific core, like ano po yung technical specs on that? It says ano lang laptop computers. So there's a lot of core that we can offer, and then when it comes to warranty, yung detailed specifications, and ano ba to, may services ba to or just the supply of the hardware, and also yung what specific brand po? Thank you.
Thank you for that. Can we hear from our end user? Sir JR, is that JR? Especially on the specifications on the tech specs as being clarified by Ms. Alma.
Yes po, Madam Chair. Thank you po. If I'm hearing correctly po, ma'am, you are asking po for the technical specifications ng laptop. Am I correct po, ma'am?
Yes. Ms. Alma is asking about specifics, especially on the laptop. Thank you.
Yes po, thank you for the clarification, Madam Chair. Ma'am, for the laptop, naka-include naman po sa ating technical specifications from the processor po until the accessories. So makita nyo naman po lahat ang technical specifications po doon. Kindly refer lang po, ma'am, to the billing documents po, ma'am. Thank you po.
Thank you, Jaymar, for clarifying, because we all understand that these are the technical specifications actually included all the things that you need uh, in order to make sure that the product that you are representing will be compliant. Okay, so it's part already of the bid docs. Kindly just check, Ma'am Alma. Thank you. Can we proceed? Anyone else?
I have another question, sir. Ma'am. Under general specification, page 42, number 8, nakalagay po is imported products should pass international quality control product standards and have international quality control product markings such as CE, ISO, ASTM, ASQC, CIQ, and the likes. So, alin po, pwede po bang specify na lang kung alin dito po yung rini-require?
Okay, Jmar.
Yes po, with regards,
Yes. Please, sige.
ito po yung mga standard ma'am, more specifically po for the laptops. Naka-include na po sa technical specification po natin yung ISO at saka yung CE. If you could kindly refer po din sir to the technical specification. So ang hinihingi lang naman po natin dito is either one lang po for this part po ng bidding documents po natin sir. What we are after po is just to verify na and to make sure na yung products po natin is of quality and based on the international standards po sir. So for the laptop for example, you could provide the ISO certification and may see it po natin dun sa ating technical specifications po sir. So either one lang po dito sa ating hinihingi po natin.
Thank you, Jmar, for clarifying that one. Next po. Anyone else? Okay, going, gone. Now is the time for our
Chair.
prospective bidders. Okay. Who is this? Is this Vice Chair?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Apo, you are acknowledged, Attorney Suzette.
Yeah, there is a question from Miss Ali regarding the submission of documents on joint venture there. Yan.
Yeah,
Basa.
yeah, that's the first question. Please proceed, Attorney.
Ayan. It's in the bidding docs. Accept, please read na lang.
Jen, can you please read that aloud? Thank you.
For the submission. Yes po, Madam Chair. In case of foreign joint venture, the NFCC, sorry. Ikaw na nga.
In case of a foreign joint venture, the NFCC shall compute it based on the audited financial statement of the local lead partner, unless it is shown by clear proof that the other partners to the joint venture have infused capital investment to support the operation of the local lead partner to ensure compliance with the obligations under the contracts in this project, in which case the NFCC of the foreign joint venture of or the minority partner of the joint venture shall be computed. For this purpose, the local lead partner shall be that person, organization, company identified in the joint venture agreement or JVA or in the letters of intent for the potential JV partners shown to have the controlling stakes in the JV. For easier preference, participating JVA or prospective JV partners must indicate in their JVAs or letters of intents the local lead partner appointed by them.
Okay, thank you, Jen, and also to Attorney Suzette for pointing that out. I hope that answers the question from the floor. Anything else? Any reminders from our back and back set? Director Ella and Attorney Zep.
I think the question is about the SLCC as well. Yeah. Can you also flash that provisions on SLCC?
Sorry ma'am, may we clarify po the question again regarding SLCC po? Thank you po.
So thank you po dun sa technical specifications. We're able to check on that. Pero going back dun sa SLCC, since huge nga po yun, wala bang chance na instead of 50%, kasi there's two na 25%, right? Which is still huge pa rin. On a typical reseller po. Is there any chance na not 50%? Very ano po kasi it should be same projects eh. So yun po. Medyo ano lang po, rare yung makaka-join on that ano kung ganun kalaki yung ABC. Thank you.
Ma'am, ang regarding po sa SLCC, 50% po ito ng ABC per lot po, not the total lot po. Yes po. That's why po we have here the at least two similar contract, which is you may submit a total of at least 25% of the ABC per lot. Yes po. The two similar contract po, which is equivalent of at least 25% of the ABC per lot. Yes po.
Sorry po kung marami akong tanong because we intend to join of course. But the thing is, before joining sana, we would like to ensure na we are eligible on the documents or general ano po, yung rules na set ninyo. The 50% actually ma'am, even if it's per lot, it's huge to be honest. Especially kung similar projects. Kasi we are an IT provider but we focus more on the IT software solutions, not into hardware. But by exceptions, we can join we can propose yung hardware, like this yung laptops. Pero since ano nga po siya, similar projects, not sure with other provider kung eligible sila to join. Pero the 50%, even per lot po, is huge actually. Kung SLCC yung pag-uusapan.
Yes ma'am, but ano po kasi ito po ay based din po sa IRR na 50% or meron tayong aggregated na 25% po talaga siya. So the ABC.
Okay. Yun lang po. Ah,
Sige po.
not sure lang kung we'll try to check if you can join. Thank you po.
Sige po, noted ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for your interest as well. Okay. Anyone else would like to clarify? From the floor, wala na po ba?
Anyone po from prospective bidders po?
Okay. Kung wala na, may we just siguro hear from our back?
Madam Chair, I just would like to remind our back secretariat to revise that specific provision that in case of inconsistencies, the USB and hard copies, nakalagay kasi ground for disqualification. It shouldn't be a ground for disqualification. We will, of course, the hard copies shall prevail. Okay? Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for that, Attorney Zep. Thank you for clarifying that. So, Baksec, please take note.
Noted po, Madam Chair.
Okay. Director Ella, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I support the corrections proposed by fellow Madam Vice Chair, Director Suzette, Madam Chair. No other comments for the bid docs. And waiting for further questions if there are, because this is the best opportunity actually for our leaders to ask questions with regards to the stipulations of our bid documents. So take the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, thank you also, Director Ella, for that. And since this is a rebid, I'm sure that perhaps we already took note of some documents and those lacking documents perhaps that caused for some disqualification of our bidders in the previous process of BAC. So we're hoping that for this particular cycle of rebid, we'll be able to be successful in choosing those compliant in the technical specific bid, particularly lot super and pipe. Okay. So kung wala na po, accept,
Madam Chair,
then we
sorry.
just remind.
Madam Chair,
Attorney Zed.
baka lang I'd like also to ask our prospective bidders if they have any issues on the NTC certification as a requirement. This has been our issues and concerns during the previous bid. So, yun lang. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that, Attorney Zed. Thank you for that reminder. Baksec. Can we again remind them of also of the important dates for this particular project?
Yes po, Madam Chair. Regarding sa mga NTC certificate po, naka-indicate naman po sa technical specifications yung mga need na mga certificates po required. Yan. Here po. Ano? For the bidders po, any concerns po regarding sa certifications na pinapa-required po namin?
Yeah, please take note na lang po sa ating prospective bidders kasi usually may mga hindi na-attach na mga certification. So that actually poses problems on disqualification. Kaya nandito naman nakalista lahat ng required documents natin.
Any other concerns po from the bidders?
Okay. Since we are hearing and seeing no one from the floor would like to clarify some more issues, we trust, Back 5 trusts that because of this pre-bid conference, it is well understood all the requirements that would make this bid for lots 1 and 4 be successful as we go through the process of procurement. Okay. So BACSEC, are we good?
Yes po, Madam Chair, that's all po for this
Okay. Can I hear a motion for the adjournment of this pre-bid conference?
Madam Chair, motion to adjourn.
Okay. Second, any second from our back?
Madam Chair, I second the motion.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you everyone for joining the pre-bid conference and see you again soon. Good afternoon to all. Thank you, BAC 5 members, BACSEC, TWG, and you, sir, our observers and our bidders. Maraming salamat po. Good afternoon to all.
Thank you, BAC 5.